Hey folks, SoloGamer here. I want to do a quick review on RELIC. We've had 5 playthroughs now. Now granted, I have not played how the rules specifically state. I've played it solo, so I played it a little differently. I didn't do too good on most of the playthroughs, but that's okay. You get the basic gist of the game. So let's get the obvious out of the way. First thing, this is a fantasy flight game, so you know you're going to get a good product, good components, usually good support. For some reason, though, on RELIC, they've been a little quiet. And I personally think that RELIC didn't sell as well as they thought it would. They have one expansion coming out for it in the second quarter of this year. If that expansion does not do well, I don't think they're going to keep going with RELIC. That's my personal opinion. This game will be a year old this month. So it's about a year old. Alright. It'll be a year and a few months for the first expansion to come out for this game. Take Eldritch Horror. That game came out in December, and it is going to have next expansion come out around the same time as this. So as you can see, they're serious about Eldritch Horror. They're serious about the game from which this thing takes its influence from, Talisman. God almighty, it's still coming out with expansions for Talisman. They even support it on print on demand, which I don't understand why they haven't done a print on demand for this as well. That just boggles the mind. But I think this game has underperformed. And I'm not exactly sure why. Let's take a look. It's a clone of Talisman. And you try to compare it to Talisman, it's not going to get a fair shake because Talisman has so much more expansions that you can't really make a fair comparison. But let's say if you just stack the box set of RELIC against the box set of Talisman, I still think Talisman would come up on top. That's not to say this game isn't good, because this game, instead of carbon copy Talisman, adds a few things in there to where it's different enough. You have, corruption cards, you have weapons, and the charge tokens, and personal missions, which is kind of like the Warlock's Quest. So, it's not exactly a full-blown carbon copy, but it is just different enough. So I still don't understand why it hasn't done as good. Let's take my one bugaboo about this is the freaking miniatures. Why the miniatures are these little busts that you got to stick those pegs up in that kill your hand every time? That pissed me off. Why not just do the regular figures? That way I could paint them, and I don't understand what went on with that. Either something legally was going on and they couldn't do it, or what, I don't know. But they shouldn't have did that. That is my one big bugaboo. On the other effect, this game board is probably one of the most beautiful game boards I've ever seen. It is absolutely fantastic. It's a work of art. If you were able to somehow blow it up and put it in a big painting on your wall, you would just be amazed at it. It's a great board. It is. And that's one of the RELIC's really strong points. I can't get into much to the characters. I'm not into Warhammer 40,000. So I'm thinking that maybe, well, the people that are already into Warhammer are playing all the other Warhammer stuff that's out and just really aren't giving RELIC much of the time of day. Whereas people who are into Talisman or never knew of Warhammer 40,000 are saying it's just a clone of Talisman. I'd rather play Talisman. And I think that's one of the bugaboos that this game, I don't know, is why it's probably not doing as well. I would love to see some corner boards added to this, done by the same artist. Can you imagine that? That would be great. I don't think this game is going to make it that far. Personally, I don't. I just don't see this game being supported more than 1 or 2 more years. But I hope I'm wrong. I will buy every expansion that comes with it, and I will support this game because this is a good game. It is just forgotten, under the radar, and underrated. And Fantasy Flight, for some reason, is not supporting it as well. And I believe it's monetary. So, is this game as good as Talisman? No, it is not. Unless you really like the science fiction aspect a whole much more than a fantasy, it is not. It's about the same or a little less fun. Because it's harder to get into the characters in this game for some reason than to get into, let's say, an elf or a dwarf or something like that. I would, if I were to recommend a person buying this game, I would recommend that you wait. I would recommend that you at least wait until the first expansion comes out. If that expansion is really good and does really well, then they will continue to support this. If not, then you're supporting a dead product. I would wait. But unless you got money to burn and you really love Talisman, then get Relic. It's a nice change of pace. Just don't expect it to ever have the expansions Talisman will have. So basically, out of my little 10-point scale, I'm just going to go ahead and give it a 7. The rules, 2 thumbs up. And they're easy to understand. And it's basically the same as Talisman. The theme, I gave it 1.5. It's a little hard to get into unless you're a really big Warhammer guy. So that's 3.5. Web support, I'm going to have to give this a 1. And that's 4.5 because Fantasy Flight's not supporting it on the web. And I think we've kind of answered the question why. Components, yeah, you give it. I'm going to give it another 1.5 there because of the stupid pegs and the bust. So that's why I did that. And then I'm going to give it, one more thumbs up for the, just the fun of it. It, not quite as good as Talisman. I gave it a 1.5, so I gave it a 7.5. We'll say a 7.5 on that. So this game, to me, is about a 7.5 out of 10. Whereas if you really want to know how I felt about Talisman, Talisman can go anywhere from 8 to a 9 because of all the expansions and stuff you can do with it. But hopefully this one will get time to grow, and we'll see. Like I said, we're done playing Relic for now, but you can rest assured when that expansion comes out, I'll be getting it right when it comes out, and we will start playing Relic again with the new expansion to see if it's worth it. So this is SoloGamer saying, see ya.